The morning started like any other. People were rushing to work, children were getting ready for school, and the streets buzzed with the usual noise of life. But then, slowly, without warning, the sunlight began to fade. At first, people thought it was a heavy cloud moving across the sky. Some glanced upward with mild curiosity, expecting to see a storm rolling in. But there were no clouds, no storms, only shadows in every corner of the world. From the busiest cities to the quietest villages, people looked up and froze where they stood. The blue of the sky was disappearing, replaced by a dark, metallic pattern. Shapes long, curved, and impossibly huge spread across the heavens. They were not moving like clouds. They were fixed, solid, and terrifying. Someone in New York screamed. In Tokyo, a man dropped his coffee and whispered in disbelief. In Cape Town, a group of students stood on the school playground and held each other's hands without knowing why. The ships were massive, too large to comprehend. They blotted out the sun, casting entire cities into shadow. Their hulls gleamed with a strange black and silver sheen, and strange blue lights pulsed along their sides like a heartbeat. There was no sound, no engines, no roaring thunder, only a suffocating silence that pressed against every human ear. Governments around the world reacted instantly. Fighter jets scrambled into the sky, radar stations went into overdrive, and every major military base was placed on high alert. But when the first jets reached the alien vessels, they simply hovered there like insects before mountains. The ships did not fire, they did not move, they simply waited. Then came the broadcast. Every screen, every phone, every radio on Earth went black. For a few seconds, there was nothing but static. Then an image appeared, a single figure, tall and shrouded, in a dark, flowing robe. Its skin was smooth and pale, its eyes black pools without reflection. Its voice was deep, echoing unnaturally, and it spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth," it said slowly, "you are surrounded. Your world is ours. Surrender, and you will be spared." The figure's head tilted slightly, almost as if it were studying the reaction of its audience. Continued, "Do not attempt resistance. Your weapons cannot harm us. You have one Earth day to comply." And then the signal vanished. Screens returned to normal. The skies remained full of shadow. In the United Nations headquarters, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted at each other. Military advisors demanded action, and intelligence chiefs whispered frantic messages into secure phones. No one had seen this coming. No one had prepared for this scale of invasion, or so it seemed. In a quiet corner of the building, a man in a dark suit stood perfectly still. He was tall, with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. His name was Admiral Isaac Rourke, and unlike most of the people in that room, he was not panicking, almost seemed expectant. A young intelligence officer approached him, speaking in a low, urgent voice. "Sir, are we going to do it?" Rourke's gaze didn't leave the enormous world map projected on the wall. "Not yet," he said quietly. "We wait for them to believe they've already won." Thousands of miles away, on the far side of the asteroid belt, deep in the black of space, a fleet of human warships sat silent. They'd been there for years, hidden from all public knowledge, built in secret after the first signs of alien life were detected decades earlier. This was the Ghost Fleet, a weapon humanity had hoped it would never need. But now, that time had come. Back on Earth, people struggled to understand what was happening. Social media exploded with theories. Some claimed the aliens were peaceful. Others believed they were here to wipe out all life. Families gathered in their homes, glued to their televisions. Airports filled with desperate travelers trying to reach loved ones. Then, something strange happened. Over the course of the day, the alien ships began to shift. Not all at once, but slowly, methodically. Their massive formations adjusted until the Earth was completely encircled. No direction was left open. Even the moon was partially obscured by the alien presence. It was a cage in space, and Earth was the prey inside. The world's militaries tested their options. A small missile test was fired from an isolated base in the Pacific. It never reached the target. The alien ship neutralized it mid-flight with a beam of light, turning it to vapor. No sound, no heat, just gone. That demonstration sent a message. Humanity understood. They could not fight these ships with conventional weapons. In a bunker beneath Washington, the President of the United States sat with his top advisors. His voice was calm but tight. If we fight, we lose billions. If we surrender, we lose everything. What's left? A voice from the corner answered. It was Rourke, standing in the shadows of the room. We strike from where they least expect it. The advisors turned to him, confused. Where would that be? One asked. Rourke's eyes gleamed. Behind them, the president frowned. You mean outside the blockade? Rourke nodded slowly. Our ships are already there, waiting. There was silence in the room far above Earth in one of the alien command vessels. The leader of the invasion stood before a vast holographic display. Alien symbols floated in the air, showing the positions of every ship in the fleet. The leader's long, claw-like fingers tapped the air as it studied the pattern of Earth's defenses. There was no sign of significant resistance. The planet was a ripe fruit ready to be plucked. It did not know that beyond its own rear flank, hidden in the shadows of drifting asteroids, dozens of human warships sat cloaked and silent. Their weapons were primed, their crews tense. In the lead ship, HMS Valiant, Captain Elaine Ward gripped the arm of her command chair. We had been waiting for this order for years. She could almost taste the moment it would come. Admiral Rourke will signal us when it's time, she told her crew. Until then, we're ghosts. No mistakes. The crew nodded, eyes fixed on their stations. Back on Earth, the final hours of the alien ultimatum ticked down. Cities had grown eerily quiet. Stores were abandoned, streets empty. People stayed. Inside, speaking in whispers, as if afraid the alien ships could hear them. In London, an old man stood on his balcony and stared up at the black shapes, blotting out the stars. He had fought in Earth's last great war decades ago, and he felt that same cold knot in his stomach now. He didn't know if Earth would survive this new enemy, didn't know if anyone could. In the final minutes before the deadline, the alien leader appeared again on every screen. Time is up, it said. Your decision? In the UN war room, the president leaned toward the microphone. His words were steady, deliberate. We do not surrender. The alien's eyes narrowed in deep space, far from Earth. Rourke's coded signal reached the Ghost Fleet, on the bridge of the Valiant. Captain Ward's lips curved into a sharp smile. All ships, she ordered, prepare to fire. Black sky above Earth remained unchanged. The alien fleet still loomed, silent and overwhelming. But in the darkness behind them, human engines roared to life. The first strike was coming, and the aliens had no idea. The alien fleet hung above Earth like a wall of steel and shadow. On the surface, people waited for the first strike, holding their breath with every passing minute. But far beyond the blockade, hidden in the cold emptiness of deep space, another kind of silence waited, one, heavy with purpose, not fear. This was the Ghost Fleet. 72 human warships, black as the void itself, drifted in the shadows of the asteroid belt. Their hulls carried no lights, no beacons, no signals, nothing to betray their presence to any scanning system. Even their heat signatures were masked by the frozen rock around them. They were invisible. At the heart of the fleet floated the HMS Valiant, its angular shape covered in armor plating, the color of night. On its bridge, Captain Elaine Ward stood tall, her hands resting behind her back. The dim red light of the control room cast long shadows across her face. Status report, she said calmly. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Hale, glanced up from his display. All ships holding position, ma'am. Engines cold, weapons armed. No sign the enemy suspects were here. Ward's eyes flicked to the main display screen. 8 showed the alien blockade around Earth, a perfect ring of massive warships, each one capable of wiping a city off the map in seconds. The alien vessels were almost beautiful in a cruel, way-smooth curves. Silver hulls and strange blue energy pulses running along their spines. They were ships built by a civilization far older and far more advanced than humanity, and yet they weren't invincible. Ward knew this because of what sat deep in her. The ship's weapons bay, the Orion Lance, a weapon so powerful it had been developed in absolute secrecy, hidden even from most of Earth's own governments. It could tear through an alien battleship's armor in one shot, but it had a catch. It had to be fired at close range. That meant they had to get dangerously close to the alien rear lines. "Ma'am," Hale said, breaking her thoughts. "Coming." Secure burst from Earth Command. It's Admiral Rourke. Ward's expression hardened. Put him through. The screen flickered, revealing the stern face of Admiral Isaac Rourke. His silver hair seemed even sharper under the dim light of his office bunker. "Captain Ward," he said without preamble, "the aliens just gave their final warning." "We refused." Ward nodded. "We're ready, sir."
Nice.
Rourke's eyes narrowed. "You won't get a second chance. Hit them fast. Hit them hard. Make sure they know we were never trapped." "Yes, Admiral." Ward said. The transmission cut, leaving the bridge in silence again. Ward turned to her crew. "Plot an intercept course. Minimal burn until we're in range. Tactical. Prepare firing solutions on priority targets. Our first shots will decide the battle." "Aye, ma'am," came the replies. The Valiant's engines stirred to life soft, almost soundless burns that shifted the ship forward through the field of asteroids. Around her, the other ships of the Ghost Fleet began to move as well, slipping, like predators through the void. For hours, they crept closer. The alien ships grew larger on the display, their glowing blue engine cores pulsing like hearts in the dark. Ward stood at the viewing glass, watching them. She wondered if the alien commander had any idea of the danger closing in. Probably not. From their point of view, Earth was trapped. From hers, they were. On the alien flagship, the leader paced before a massive holographic map. To its mind, the operation was already over. The human planet was surrounded, its defenses shattered before they could even be used. Resistance would be meaningless. Soon their species would either kneel or be wiped away. It had no reason to check behind its fleet. That was its mistake, ma'am. Hale's voice came sharp and low. "We're inside their rear perimeter. Weapons are locked. Targets acquired." Ward inhaled slowly, her heart steady despite the tension in the air. "Broadcast to all ships," she said. "This is Captain Ward. You know your orders. Strike. Fast, strike clean, and remember, they came here thinking we were prey." She let the words hang for a moment, then finished. "Show them what hunters look like." The bridge went still. No one spoke.
Oh.
The Valiant's engines cut completely, leaving them to drift the last few kilometers. Ward gave the final order. "Fire." Darkness erupted from the Ghost Fleet's hidden position. A storm of torpedoes, railguns, slugs, and energy blasts tore through the void, slamming into the alien vessels from behind. The first target, a massive carrier ship, took 3 direct hits from the Orion Lance. Its hull split apart like glass, and the shockwave rolled across the alien formation. The aliens didn't even have time to raise their shields. One moment, they were poised to crush Earth. The next, they were the ones under siege. Multiple confirmed kills, Hale reported, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "We caught them completely off guard." Ward's lips curled into a grim smile. "Keep pressing. Don't give them room to breathe." The alien fleet scrambled to respond, engines flaring as they tried to turn their massive ships around. But their formation was too tight, their vessels too large. In the chaos, several of them collided, creating bursts of fire and debris that drifted in slow motion through space. On the alien flagship, alarms screamed in every direction. The commander barked orders in its native language, its voice sharp with disbelief. How had humans, primitive, ground-bound humans, gotten behind them? Ward didn't care about their confusion. This was her moment, and she would not waste it. "All ships," she said into the comms, "press the attack. We've got one chance to break their back." As the Ghost Fleet advanced, the alien vessels began returning fire. Beams of blue energy sliced through the dark, forcing human ships to roll and weave to avoid being vaporized. The HMS Resolute took a glancing hit that stripped away half its armor plating. Resolute reports heavy damage, Lay said urgently. Tell them to fall back to the asteroid cover, Ward ordered. We can't afford to lose ships yet. The battle turned into a deadly dance, human ships darting in and out of the alien formation, striking with precision and vanishing before the enemy could focus on them. Every kill weakened the ring. Around Earth, every explosion another step towards survival. But Ward knew the aliens would recover quickly. Surprise was their weapon now, but it would not last. And when the enemy adapted, the real war would begin. The void burned with fire. The Ghost Fleet's ambush had torn through the alien rear line like a blade through silk. Shattered enemy vessels drifted in silence, their hulls glowing red from internal explosions. In the blackness between stars, the wreckage of an alien warship floated past the HMS Valiant. Its strange, silver armor peeling away in molten strips, Captain. Elaine Ward stood at the center of her bridge, calm but sharp-eyed. Status, she asked without turning. 4 confirmed kills, ma'am, Lieutenant Hale reported. 3 more heavily damaged. The enemy's still trying to reorganize. Ward nodded slightly. She had expected this. The aliens had been caught off guard, but they were not fools. Sooner or later they would recover, and when they did, their counterattack would be brutal. Keep pressure on them, Ward said. Don't let them form a defensive line. The Valiant surged forward, weaving between bursts of blue alien fire. Her gunners locked onto another Target massive support cruiser. Orion Lance, fire, Ward ordered. A blinding white beam lanced from the Valiant's forward cannon, cutting through the cruiser's spine. For a heartbeat, the alien ship seemed to hang there, motionless. Then it split in two, venting glowing debris into the void. The bridge crew didn't cheer. They didn't smile. There was no time for celebration on the alien flagship. The commander stood before a flurry of alien symbols and status displays. Each one showed another ship gone, another section of their fleet collapsing. The commander's black, expressionless, eyes locked on a single flashing warning: human warships detected rear sector. It made no sense. The humans were supposed to be trapped inside Earth's orbit. Every scan had shown no significant fleet presence beyond the blockade. The commander hissed in frustration. It's long. It clawed fingers, tapping rapid commands into the holographic interface. Redirect rear squadrons? It barked in its own language. Seal the gap and crush them. Orders rippled across the alien fleet. Massive battleships began slowly turning to face the threat, their glowing engines flaring brighter. Smaller alien vessels darted between them like hunting dogs. Moving to intercept the Ghost Fleet? Ma'am, they're starting to react, Hale warned. Rear squadrons are moving into firing range. Ward's gaze stayed fixed on the tactical display. Good. Let them. The more ships they pull off Earth, the better. That was the hidden purpose of this strike, not just to destroy alien ships, but to force them to loosen their grip on Earth. Every warship that turned to face the Ghost Fleet was one less threatening the planet. All ships. Ward called into the fleet-wide channel. Keep moving, strike and fade. Never give them a stationary target. The HMS Valiant banked hard to avoid a barrage of glowing blue plasma fire. The energy bursts sliced past, lighting the bridge with flashes of cobalt light. Hale's voice cut through the noise. Ma'am? HMS Archer reports multiple enemy fighters incoming. Ward's eyes narrowed. Deploy point defense turrets. Protect the Archer. In the distance, dozens of small alien craft streaked toward the human line, weaving between the wrecks of their own destroyed ships. The fighters were too fast for the larger human vessels to track with heavy weapons. But Ward's crews had drilled for this. The Valiant's flak cannons roared to life, filling space with a hail of glowing projectiles. Alien fighters exploded in bursts of blue light, but more kept coming. The Archer took a direct hit to its port. Sighed, spinning slightly before stabilizing. They're breaking through, Hal shouted. Ward didn't hesitate. Helm, bring us alongside the Archer. Full defensive screen. The Valiant slid into position, its turrets unleashing a storm of fire. Between the two ships, the alien fighters were shredded, their remains. Tumbling away into the void, the cums crackled with a voice from the Archer. "Valiant. This is Archer, thanks for the cover." Ward's tone stayed even. "Stay in formation. We're not done yet." The alien flagship finally came into view on the main display, a vast, spear-shaped vessel that dwarfed even Earth's largest warships. Its armor glowed faintly, as though something alive pulsed beneath the metal. Hale stared at it. "That's the command ship." Ward knew it too. Destroying it would throw the entire alien fleet into chaos. But it was heavily guarded, surrounded by layers of escorts. "Not yet," Ward said softly. "We take out their escorts first, and we go for the head." The Ghost Fleet tightened its formation, focusing fire on the alien ships guarding the flagship. One by one, they fell, each explosion shaking the alien chain of command. But the aliens were adapting. They began coordinating fire, predicting the Ghost Fleet's attack patterns. A sudden barrage slammed into the HMS Resolute, tearing a hole through its midsection. The ship's lights flickered and went dark. Resolute's dead in the water. Hale called out. Ward clenched her jaw. Signal Endeavor towed the Resolute into cover. "The rest of us will hold the line." The Valiant swung broadside, unleashing every weapon in its arsenal. Railgun slugs punched through alien hulls. Missile trails crisscrossed the dark like streaks of fire. The aliens fought back just as fiercely, their plasma beams carving through the blackness with deadly precision. It was a brutal, close-quarters battle now. On the alien flagship, the commander's calm mask was cracking. Every attempt to push the humans back had failed. The humans moved with precision, almost as if they knew exactly where to strike. The commander realized something chilling. They weren't just trying to survive. They were hunting. Back on the Valiant, Ward could feel the shift in the fight. The aliens were rattled, but still dangerous. Hale leaned closer. "Ma'am, if we want to take that flagship, we have to do it soon." "Before they regroup?" Ward's voice was steady. "Then let's prepare the lance." The Valiant's crew moved fast, charging the Orion lance for one massive shot. It would drain the ship's power reserves for several minutes, but if it hit, it could cripple the alien command ship in one strike. Ward watched the display. The alien flagship was turning slowly, its forward batteries beginning to align with the Valiant. This was going to be close. "Target locked," Hale said, his voice tight. Ward's hand hovered over the firing control. For a long moment, the only sound on the bridge was the low hum of the lance building power. Fire. The beam erupted from the Valiant's prow, a line of white fire that cut across the void and slammed into the alien flagship's side. The glow of the alien armor flared, then fractured. The beam burned deep, and for the first time, the alien flagship shuddered. The crew held their breath, waiting to see if it would fall. It didn't. Not yet. But the damage was done. Their armor was breached. Ward's voice was cold steel. "Now, we finished them." The alien flagship bled light. The Orion lance had cut through its armor, leaving a glowing wound along its flank. Smaller ships scrambled to shield it, forming a living wall against the Ghost Fleet's advance. On the HMS Valiant, Captain Elaine Ward stood with her eyes locked on the tactical display. The alien formation was still in disarray, but she could feel the shift. Their chaos was turning into fury. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Hale said, his tone low. "Their response is coming. Hard." Ward nodded. "Brace for it." The first counterstrike came without warning. A blinding spear of blue energy shot from one of the alien heavy destroyers, slicing through space like a lightning bolt. It hit the HMS Archer dead center. For a heartbeat, the ship's hull glowed white-hot, and it shattered. The explosion lit up the void, scattering molten debris across the Ghost Fleet's formation. Hale's voice caught. "Archer is gone. No survivors detected." Ward didn't let herself flinch. "Hold formation. Target that destroyer." The Ghost Fleet responded instantly, pouring fire into the alien warship that had fired the killing blow. The destroyer crumpled under the barrage, breaking apart into a cloud of twisted metal. But there was no satisfaction, and only the grim knowledge that the cost of victory was rising. On the alien flagship, the commander's black eyes reflected the chaos. Its voice was cold and sharp as it issued orders. Full offensive. Crush them. Before they reached the command ship, dozens of alien warships surged forward, their engines blazing. The space between the fleets filled with fire, torpedoes, plasma beams, railgun slugs. The blackness of the void became a battlefield of light and death. Ward's bridge shook violently as an alien beam grazed the Valiant's side, melting a line of armor. Sparks rained down from a blown-out console. Damage to port plating, Hale reported. Shields at 60%. Maintain fire, Ward ordered, her voice like iron. Two more human ships, HMS Drake and HMS Sentinel, took heavy hits. In quick succession, the Drake limped behind the formation, its engines trailing vapor. The Sentinel was spinning slowly. One side torn open to the vacuum. The coms crackled with the voice of the Sentinel's captain. Valiant hull breach in Sector 3. Can't the signal cut out? Seconds later, the Sentinel was gone, consumed by a chain of explosions. Hale looked up from his station. We're losing too many, ma'am. At this rate, we... Keep fighting, Ward cut him off. Every ship we take down weakens their grip on Earth. That's the mission. Back on Earth, people could see the flashes of the battle through telescopes and long-range cameras. In cities and villages, they gathered in silence, watching the distant war play out in streaks of light across the sky. They didn't know how. Many human ships were out there, only that they were fighting for all of them. Then, without warning, the alien flagship made its move. Its massive forward cannon lit up, brighter than anything Ward had seen before. "Ma'am, they're charging a planet buster," Hal shouted. Ward's blood went cold. A weapon like that wasn't meant for shipsit, was meant to obliterate a city from orbit. "Target?" she demanded. Hale's voice dropped. "Beijing." The Valiant's bridge went silent. "Time to fire?" Ward asked. "Less than 3 minutes," Hale said grimly. Ward didn't think. She acted. "All ships full thrust. Form on me." "We're taking that cannon out now?" The Ghost fleet surged forward, closing the gap to the alien flagship. Alien escorts swarmed to intercept, turning the space between them into a gauntlet of plasma and fire. The HMS Valiant took hit after hit, armor melting away, shields dropping. "Shields at 30%, Hall shouted over the alarms. "Keep going," Ward barked. The Endeavor was the first to breach the alien screen, unleashing a barrage on the flagship's side batteries. The Resolute, limping but still alive, came in from below, hammering the same spot. Ward's Valiant cut through the center, its Orion Lance charging for another shot. The alien flagship's cannon glowed brighter. It's almost ready to fire. "Lance ready," Hale said. One shot. Ward stared at the glowing weapon ahead. One shot to save millions. Fire. The Orion Lance roared to life, its beams slicing across the void and slamming into the cannon's housing. For a split second, it held. Then it ruptured. In a blinding explosion that tore a massive hole through the flagship's prow, the blast wave rolled outward, smashing into the Ghost fleet and scattering debris in all directions. When the light faded, the cannon was gananned. So were 2 more human ships caught too close to the explosion. On the bridge of the Valiant, crew stared at the tactical display. The alien flagship was still alive but crippled. Ghost. Fleet was bloodied, but the planet was safe for now. Hale's voice was quiet. "We saved Beijing." Ward didn't answer right away. She looked at the list of destroyed ships. Archer, Sentinel, Drake, Nova. Names that wouldn't come back. Finally, she spoke. "Signal to Earth Command. Objective complete. Prepare for." Phase 2. Far away, on the alien flagship, the commander's claws curled into fists. The humans had struck deep, harder than any prey had dared. Now it thought, it was time to show them the true strength of the Armada, while the Ghost fleet fought tooth and nail in the black void above. Something dangerous had already seeped into Earth's heart. The alien commander had not relied only on ships and weapons. Hidden inside the invasion plan was a far quieter, far deadlier tactic: infiltration on the streets of New York. A man named Daniel Kessler walked with his head down, blending into the crowd. To anyone passing by, he looked like an ordinary office worker, brown coat, briefcase in hand, tired eyes. But inside that briefcase was a compact alien device no human engineer had ever seen, and Daniel Kessler was not human. Not anymore. Weeks before the Armada arrived, sleeper agents had awakened humans who had been quietly replaced, altered, or controlled by alien technology. They had lived among families, worked in offices, laughed with friends. All the while, they had waited for a signal. That signal had come when the sky turned black. Kessler's mission was simple: disable one of New York's orbital defense uplinks, a communication tower that linked ground-based targeting systems to the last functioning orbital cannons. Without it, a section of Earth's skies would be blind, half a world away. In Moscow, another sleeper agent walked into a secure bunker beneath the city. Her orders were the same: sabotage. And in Beijing, Johannesburg, Sydney, others moved into position. The war wasn't just in space anymore. It was everywhere, inside the UN's underground war room. Admiral Isaac Ruark scanned a live feed of reports coming in from across the globe. "We've got coordinated sabotage attempts in at least 9 countries, his intelligence chief said. Rourke's voice was grim. "The Armada's bleeding us from the inside." On the HMS Valiant, Captain Elaine Ward listened to the same briefing. "Over-secure comes." She knew what this meant if too many ground systems failed. The alien fleet could tighten the blockade. The Ghost Fleet's sacrifices would be for nothing. "Command wants a rapid response ground team," Rourke's voice said in her ear. "We're inserting a strike unit into New York. You'll provide orbital overwatch." Ward nodded to herself. "Understood. We'll keep the skies clear." In New York, a small squad of black-clad soldiers moved quietly through the empty streets toward the defense uplink tower. Their leader, Sergeant Mara Lynn, had been pulled from leave only hours earlier. She knew they were hunting someone who looked human but wasn't. "Eyes up," she whispered into her comm. "If they're here, they know we're coming." Above, the Valiant orbited silently, her sensors sweeping for any alien signals. Were reported, "We've got strange energy spikes in Manhattan, 2 blocks from the uplink tower." Ward didn't hesitate. Mark the coordinates. It's relay to Lynn's team. Lynn received the update and motioned for her soldiers to move in. They entered a half-collapsed building, dust swirling in the dim light, and there, in the center of the room, was Kessler. The briefcase open at his feet, the device inside pulsed with blue light. "Kessler," Lynn shouted, her rifle up. He turned slowly, smiling in a way that didn't look human at all. His voice was calm, almost mocking. Too late, Lynn fired. The bullet tore through him, but instead of blood, streams of glowing blue nanites spilled from the wound. Kessler didn't fall. He lunged impossibly fast. 2 soldiers went down before the others could react, her armor melting under the touch of his hands. Lynn emptied the rest of her magazine into his head. This time he collapsed, the nanites evaporating into the air. "Device." She barked. Her tech specialist rushed forward, hands flying over the alien controls. "It's primed for a remote. Detonation. 30 seconds. "Shut it down," Len ordered. "I can't signals coming from orbit." Above, Hale's voice came through Ward's headset. "Ma'am, we've detected a tight beam transmission from one of the alien escorts straight to Manhattan." Ward's eyes narrowed. "Destroy that ship, now." The Valiant's Orion lance fired, punching clean through the alien escort vessel. The beam cut the ship in half, and the transmission cut off instantly. Back on the ground, the devices pulsing, slowed, then stopped. "Tower secure," Lynn reported, breathing hard. But Rourke's voice came through, grim as ever. "That's 1 tower. We've got more across the globe under attack." Ward understood. The aliens were testing Earth's defenses, finding weak points. If even one major uplink went down, it could open a hole in the defense grid big enough to punch through. In Johannesburg, a second strike team wasn't so lucky. The uplink there went dark, its tower destroyed in an explosion. On Ward's tactical screen, a gap in the orbital cannon coverage appeared over southern Africa almost instantly. Alien ships moved into the gap, their formation tightening. "They're exploiting the breach," Hale said urgently. "Then we plug it," Ward replied. Give me targeting on those intruders." The Valiant and two other ships fired in perfect unison, tearing apart the first alien cruiser to cross the line. The others hesitated long enough for emergency repair crews on the ground to begin bringing the Johannesburg uplink back online. Battle inside the battle had begun. The Ghost Fleet fought to keep the Armada's main forces at bay, while on Earth, human soldiers hunted down alien infiltrators one by one. On the alien flagship, the commander watched the reports of failed sabotage attempts with a deepening scowl. It had underestimated humanity's ability to respond on multiple fronts. But this was far from over. It spoke to its officers in a cold, precise tone. "If they can defend their planet from within, then we will burn it from above Earth." More alien ships began to shift, preparing for a concentrated orbital strike. Ward saw the movement and felt a cold knot tighten in her chest. The infiltration was over. Next move would be pure destruction, and this time she knew. So, they were aiming for the heart. The war had reached a breaking point. For days, the Ghost Fleet had fought without rest, keeping the alien Armada at bay. Earth's skies still held, but barely. Every ship in orbit bore fresh scars. Some were little more than drifting wrecks, held together by patchwork repairs and stubborn will. On the bridge of the HMS Valiant, Captain Elaine Ward stood with her hands clasped behind her back. Her crew worked in silence, each knowing how close they were to the edge. "Enemy movements are shifting," Halley reported, eyes fixed on his sensor screen. "The Armada's central ships are repositioning. Looks like they're preparing a coordinated strike." Ward didn't need Hale to tell her what that meant. "They're coming for the kill," she said quietly, in the underground war room. Admiral Rourke had come to the same conclusion, but instead of ordering a retreat or a desperate defensive line, he gave a command that shocked everyone. "We go after their leaders." There was silence on the secure line. "Sir," Ward asked. "You heard me, Captain?" "Intelligence from intercepted transmissions suggests their command ships are massed in the rear of the formation. If we cut off the head," Hale finished for him, "the body dies." Rourke nodded. "Okay, it's a gamble, but right now it's the only move that might turn this around." The plan was dangerous. Strike group of Earth's fastest, most heavily armed ships would punch straight through the alien lines, jump into the enemy's rear, and hit the command vessels directly. No retreats, no reinforcements. Ward's Valiant was at the center of that group. "Prep for combat jump," Ward ordered, all power to weapons and shields. Across the Ghost Fleet, other captains gave similar orders. The Indomitable, Firestorm, the Archangel, and 3 more cruisers formed up alongside the Valiant. The alien front line was a wall of fire and steel. If the strike group wanted to break through, they would need to hit hard and fast. "Jump coordinates locked," Hale reported. Ward's voice was steady. "On my mark." "Mark." The Ghost Fleet strike group roared forward, their engines burning. At maximum, alien ships opened fire, but Earth's cruisers blasted back, clearing a narrow path with a storm of railgun slugs and plasma lances. The Indomitable took a direct hit to her port side, kept moving, her captain refusing to fall. Back. The Firestorm plowed through a formation of enemy frigates, guns blazing. Then they reached the jump point. "Engage FTL," Ward commanded. Space twisted, stars smeared into streaks, and the Valiant leaped forward. Seconds later, they dropped into the enemy's rear directly in front of the alien command ships. It was like arriving in the middle of a sleeping beast. The enemy's massive carriers and control vessels hung in formation, guarded by only a few escorts. They hadn't expected anyone to reach them. "Targets acquired," Hale said, his voice tight with excitement. Ward didn't waste a moment. "All ships fire everything." The first volley tore into the nearest command cruiser, ripping through its shields and splitting its hull. Explosions rippled along its length as it broke apart. Alien escorts scrambled to respond, but the Ghost Fleet pressed the attack. The Archangel unleashed a spread of torpedoes that detonated deep inside another command vessel. On the alien flagship, panic spread. Their leader, a tall, pale figure with eyes like molten silver, barked orders in a language no human could understand. Their formation was breaking, the chain of command fraying under the sudden assault. But victory would not come easy. A squadron of alien interceptors swarmed the Valiant, pounding her shields. Warning klaxons blared. Shields at 40%. Hulla shouted. Ward gritted her teeth. Focus fire on the flagship. If we take it down, the rest may scatter. The Indomitable, already trailing smoke and debris, moved to shield the Valiant from incoming fire. She took another massive hit. Her engines flared once, then went dark. Indomitable is down, Hale said. Voice breaking, Ward forced the grief aside. They had no time. Target the flagship's bridge. The Valiant's Orion Lance charged, the massive beam weapon humming with deadly energy. At the same moment, the firestorm strafed the enemy's flank, buying precious seconds. Fire. A blinding spear of white energy shot from the Valiant, slicing clean through the alien flagship's forward section. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the entire ship erupted in a chain of violent explosions. Alien transmissions spiked, confused, disorganized, panicked. Ships began to drift out of formation, some breaking off entirely. They're falling apart. Hale said, awe in his voice. But the price was high. 2 more Ghost Fleet cruisers were crippled in the fight. The firestorm was venting atmosphere, barely holding together. Ward opened a channel to Rourke. Command, enemy leadership is down. Their fleet is in chaos. Rourke's reply was steady. But there was a rare edge of relief. Then press the advantage. Drive them out before they regroup. The Ghost Fleet surged forward, chasing the retreating alien ships. Some fought desperately, others fled without firing. The once unbreakable blockade began to fracture. But Ward knew it wasn't over. The Armada was too vast, too relentless to be destroyed in one blow. This was a turning point, yes, but the war was still far from one, as the Valiant turned for another pass. Ward looked out at the burning wreckage of the alien flagship. She allowed herself one brief thought. We can win this. Then she pushed it aside. There was still one final battle ahead, and Earth's survival would depend on it. The alien Armada was breaking. After the destruction of their flagship, their formation had scattered. But Captain Elaine Ward knew better than to celebrate. Scattered did not mean defeated. The aliens were regrouping at the far edge of the system, drawing their remaining forces together for one last assault. From the bridge of the HMS Valiant, Ward watched the tactical display. Blue icons marked Earth's battered Ghost Fleet. Red ones marked the enemy. There were still far too many red. Admiral, Rourke's voice came through the comms. This is it. They'll be back within the hour. This is their last push, and ours. Every ship we have, every weapon, every pilot, we throw everything into this fight. If we fail here, Earth falls. There was no fear in his voice, only steel. In orbit, Earth's defense grid powered up. Massive rail cannons on the moon swung into position. The orbital stations charged their plasma arrays. On Earth's surface, missile silos stood ready. Civilian shelters went into lockdown. Every city, every settlement knew this was the final stand. The crew of the Valiant worked quickly, patching hull breaches, rerouting power, reloading weapons. No one spoke about the losses. They all knew who wasn't coming back. The Indomitable, the Firestorm, and countless smaller craft had been lost in the strike on the flagship. Their sacrifices had bought this one chance. Captain Hale said quietly from his station, incoming. Multiple warp signatures. They're here. The tactical screen bloomed with red. The enemy had returned. Ward straightened. All stations, prepare for battle. The alien fleet came in fast, engines burning bright, weapons hot. Their formation was tighter than before. Their intent clear: they would crush Earth in a single, overwhelming strike. Open fire. The first salvos lit up space. Earth's railguns hurled hypersonic slugs into the enemy lines, tearing apart frigates and corvettes. Plasma beams from the moon stations carved through shields. The Ghost Fleet surged forward, meeting the enemy head-on. The impact was devastating. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes, drifting into debris fields. The Valiant rocked violently as enemy fire slammed into her shields. Shields at 60%, Hale shouted. Keep firing, Ward barked. The aliens pressed hard, their heavy cruisers pushing through Earth's defenses. One of the moon's cannons went dark, struck by a precision barrage. The orbital station Atlas took a hit to its power core and began to drift. Venting fire and gas, in the chaos, Ward spotted something a gap in the alien formation. Signaled the fleet, she ordered, push through here, break their center. The Ghost fleet adjusted, hammering at the opening. The Valiant, the Archangel, and the Resolute dove into the gap, tearing through with concentrated fire. The alien ships tried to close ranks, but it was too late. The center collapsed, splitting their formation in two. Rourke's voice came over the comms. All wings, press the attack. Split them and take them down. Fighter squadrons swarmed in, striking vulnerable engines and weapon pods. Alien interceptors fought back, but the humans were fighting with desperation. Every pilot knew this was the moment. Ward's eyes locked on the largest remaining enemy vessel, massive carrier. Bristling with weapons and still launching fighters, that ship's controlling the battle. If it goes down, the rest will break. The Valiant dove toward it, dodging streams of plasma fire. Hale rerouted all power to the forward guns. The Orion Lance charged, its energy building to a dangerous hum. Fire. The beam lanced out, punching through the carrier's forward shields and into its hangar bays.
Ow.
Explosions tore through its spine.
Ow.
Fighters tried to flee but were caught. In the blast, seconds later, the entire ship went up in a blinding flash. The effect was instant. The alien fleet wavered, their coordination faltering. Some ships broke off entirely, retreating into the void. Others fought on, but without the same precision. This is it, Ward shouted. Drive them out! The Ghost fleet surged forward. The Archangel destroyed a cruiser with a volley of torpedoes. The Resolute rammed an enemy destroyer, taking both ships out in the explosion. One by one, the red icons on Ward's screen winked out, and then silence. The few surviving alien ships jumped to FTL, disappearing into deep space. The battle was over. Earth was safe. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Then cheers broke out across the comm channels. Crews shouted, laughed, and cried. Ward let herself lean against the console, her hands trembling. They had done it. Impossible odds they had held. Rourke's voice came through, quieter now. To all surviving ships, you've saved our world. Rest, mourn the fallen, be ready. Because they will remember this day, and so will we. Ward looked out at the wreckage drifting silently in space. She knew he was right. The war wasn't truly over. The aliens would return someday, but when they did, humanity would be ready. Now, they had earned their victory. For now, the sky over Earth was clear.